Hello, I'm super excited to introduce my special guest, Anitha Johny. Anitha has been a member of the Delicious Alignment Facebook group since October 2021. She is passionate about making a positive impact in the world, which explains why she reached out to me to tell her story about how the law of attraction and the teachings of Abraham Hicks, among others, helped her learn how to love her body and her food even more. Like many people, Anitha found herself gaining a few pounds during the pandemic, and in this podcast interview, she shares how she used the law of attraction to help her get back to her desired weight with ease and fun. The last few years of my life have been quite an amazing journey, says Anitha, and it keeps getting better and better. Anitha lives in sunny California and is the director of translation and localization at Linguava. Let's jump into the interview. Hello, Anitha.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm so excited. This is the first time we're actually talking in person, even though we know each other a little bit, but I'm so excited to get a chance to know you even more. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for this opportunity and inviting me. Thank you.
Yes, and I had posted in my Delicious Alignment hyphen Abraham Hicks Facebook group that I was looking for people to be on the podcast, people that have learned to love their bodies using Abraham Hicks, or and also lost weight, but that was not a requirement that you lost weight. Mainly, I'm interested in people who have gone through that journey of learning how to love their bodies. And you reached out to me on Facebook Messenger, and you said, I have a story to share about loving my body, and I share this stuff with not only about loving your body, but law of attraction with my friends and my family and my girls, my daughters. So I can't wait to get into that with you, and I'm just gonna open it up to you, and please just tell me your story, whatever you think is relevant. You know my audience, you know what we talk about. It's just really broad. So as far as it's loving your body, but it's everything. It's loving your life. It's loving your food. Just a moment ago we were chatting, and you're saying I love my food, and so sort of think of it like the before and after story, and telling what were things like before and what are things like now, and what was the journey in between, and the journey of course keeps going. So yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So it is, yeah, like you mentioned, a journey, right? And it's different for every person, but it's so important to remember that everybody can do it. Everybody can have whatever they want, right? So that's the main thing. And even though it's unique, the basics are the same things. And this is unique to me as well. So for me, it was more of getting to a good space to understand who I am, and to love myself, and honor myself and honor my body and who I am, and feel good in it no matter what, right? So that's where you can start with. And I was telling you before, before the pandemic, I was good, and then the pandemic, and you're sitting and working 10 to 12 hours, and you're not having much activities going on. So you do tend to put on a lot of weight, and that's true for so many people, right? But so what comes with that is, you're feeling bad about how you're looking, you're not feeling good. And it's, for some people, it can really, bring depression, because you're just not feeling good, and you're not able to see your friends. And it's a mix of everything, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I've been there as well. So for me, the main thing was to get out of that funk. That was the starting point, because till you do that, you cannot accomplish anything, right? You've got to be in the right frame of mind. You've got to feel good before you take any action, right? Otherwise, whatever you do, it's not going to yield the right results. So it was a journey.
that happened to you, Anitha? Where I mean, I know for me, during the pandemic, I definitely was isolating more than usual because I'm an introvert anyway, and so then here's the pandemic, and then I'm um, around people even less. You know, before it would be like, oh, once I'm out, I'm having a great time and I love to interact with people. But it's sometimes that like, okay, let's go, you know, let's go out. And
Yeah.
so, yes, I know a lot of people say they gained weight during the pandemic and now it's getting back into the way life was before, maybe. So, yeah, tell me about that. That happened to you. You gained some weight and you felt like, how did you feel about it? Like that.
Yeah, it was a very difficult time, I would say, because even though I had put on weight before pandemic and a little bit, and I've lost, 15, 20 pounds at that time too, it was more different. I wasn't down about it, but this time around, you could really feel it was heavy on me. It was heavy on my heart and my, mind, and it was just really not a good place. So trying to come to terms with, hey, it's okay, we can, this is just temporary, right? It can change. So that internal work struggle was what I had the most, work to do. And of course, Abraham will say the same thing, right? Whatever you do, if you don't do it when you're feeling good, it's not going to work out. So to, you know, back to trying to say, of course, the Malicious Method
Oh,
helps you a lot, right? To calibrate to where you really want to be.
Let's just stop there for a second and say what that is. The Mallicin method, which used to be the evoke method, it's now the Mallicin method. Gina Mallicin created it, and that's actually how we met. We were in. You were in the Mallicin method training for a while, weren't you? Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and so we actually calibrate each other, meaning we have a session and we're coaches. Some of us go on to become coaches. I have become a coach. And it's really a wonderful way to calibrate up the vibrational scale and feel better. So I just wanted to clarify what that was. So that's one of the things at the time you were in the program during the pandemic. So that's just one of the tools that you're talking about. Great.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will tell you in different terms, whether it's, neuro-linguistic programming or some other ways to, you've got to change your thought if you want to change your life, right? People will tell you all kinds of different ways. Very few tell you exactly how to do it. So Gina tells you how to do it, right? So I've had many times, when you're frustrated or you've got crazy things going on, but once you, calibrate and, center yourself, what do you really want to be or do or feel like? And that's the point that if you work from, right? And then everything changes. You don't even have to do anything. You just sit there and enjoy, and things just magically work for you.
Yeah. So I mean, you're saying so many gems there. So it's like, I want to shine a spotlight on it. So you said, okay, so maybe you're feeling not so great. You're feeling some negative emotions, and then asking yourself, well, what emotions do you want to feel?
Mm-hmm.
And then like, oh, I want to feel more joy, or I want to feel calm, or I want to feel relaxed, and then calibrating to that. Yeah, great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the whole part of it. So my initial period for maybe a month or two even, what I did was just that, calibrate my emotions, calibrate how I wanted to feel in my body, or even just accepting where I was, right? I mean, you cannot, it's like, yes, you're working in the problem, but if you're only thinking about the problem, you cannot find the joy in how you want it to be solved, right? So you got to accept what is there first, and then work your way and change to what you really want to be. So that whole portion took a couple of months for me. And then once that was done, and I have my why, and I know how I'm going to feel, and then, okay, you think about, okay, what do I need to do? What do I feel like doing about this? And for me, like I mentioned, it was not going to be the food diet, the diet way, because it's just not me. And I listen to my gut, my, solar plexus a lot, and everything that comes from there, that's what I do, right? So if it isn't a heck yes.
Yes. So okay, you keep saying these wonderful things, so I can't help it. I have to stop you and, and rewind a little bit and touch upon it, because what you said was, once I started feeling better, and then I identified my why. So let's talk
Mhm.
about that for a moment, because before we get into the whole, I love that whole conversation about. I realized it was not about this diet or that diet or controlling my food. So I really want to go there with you. But first, I'd like to talk about the why. And so what I heard you say was that I, started calibrating myself. I figured out my why. So tell me about that. What was that process for you? How does one figure out their why? And I assume you're talking about, like, okay, I want to release some pounds. Let me figure out my why. Um, because as we know, that is part of the process. It really is, that Abraham talks about. Even Wiola talks about that a lot. Figure out what is your why, because sometimes your why isn't what you think it is.
Mhm.
Like I did an exercise where I was figuring out my why. Why do I want this in my business, this aspect of my business? And it was so eye opening, because I realized, oh, I don't really want that. After all, I just
Yep.
thought I wanted that. So doing this
Right.
exercise of figuring out, what do you want and why do you want it? And then eventually releasing the why, when you figure out the why, and then letting it all go, is like so powerful. It was for me. So I'd love to hear, what was your process for figuring out the why, and what was your why, and what were your insights about that?
Well, of course, we all have different whys, and I have different whys for different things too, right? So I always tell my girls, like motivation is, overrated. You know, you've got to motivate yourself every single time to get to that place, right? But if you're inspired, if you have your why, you know exactly what you want, and then nothing can stop you. That's how people are successful in anything that they do, right? They know their whys, and no matter what people say or do to you or anything, like, okay, so what? I know what I want to do, and I'm going to go for it, right? So that's what it. So for about weight loss, for me, it was, why do I want to lose weight? One, of course, was to feel good, to be able to wear what you want to wear, but I wanted to go back to, running and playing and doing all those activities and feeling incredible, right? That was my why. I wanted to get back to how I felt before. So that was my why. But yes, you think, um, you have to think, what do I really want? Like, why am I feeling this way? So it's, again, I think going back to that calibration or Malicious Method, it takes a while. It takes a few times to actually give you that insights. Oh, okay, I'm feeling this way. And that's what the Malicious Method does, right? Once you get to a good point, then you have new insights. Like,
Mhm.
oh, wait a minute, this wasn't what I was, like you mentioned, why I was feeling this way or what I wanted. It's something completely different. And it feels here. So again, going back to, gut feeling, you feel it in your heart or in your gut or in your body. Like Gina says, now okay, this is what it is. So it
Yeah.
takes a few tries here and there and different things to get to that point, but always ask questions. Ask yourself everything. How does this feel? How does that feel? Does this make you feel good? Does this make you feel bad about anything in life? So that was my process to get there.
Wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, right. It's all about how you're feeling, and being aware of, what am I feeling now, and using your tools, whatever they might be, to feel better. And it's not like you're going to be at this high level of happiness all the time.
Right.
It's alignment.
Yeah.
It can be neutral. It can be calm. It can be just in a relaxed state. Uh,
Yep.
so your why was because you wanted to do the things that you love. running, being more active, and what were the things that you said that you like to do?
Yeah, yeah, the activities and just feeling good in general, trying out something, feeling good. Because I, before, people used to tell me, "Oh, I didn't know you had a teenage kid," and that was a good feeling, looking young while you're having big older kids. So I wanted to go back to that feeling, and look young
You
too, I
want to go
guess.
back to your youthful, playful self and
Yes,
feel really good in your body, feel really
yeah,
sexy and attractive,
of
and feel
course.
like
Why
you
not?
want to feel.
Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just for anyone, for our listeners, one thing you can do is just it's an exercise of asking why do I want this? Identify something that you want. It could be I want to release pounds, or I want to
yeah.
get more
Be
fitness.
healthy, whatever it
I
might
want to
be.
be healthy. I want to feel more energetic, and then ask yourself why. Why you could do this in your journal or just in your head, and
Yep.
why do I want to do this? And then, like Anitha said, there's some inspiration instead of motivation. You're in touch with your why. Like, oh, and sometimes it's really eye opening.
Very.
Sounds like such a simple exercise, but sometimes it's really eye
Yeah.
opening. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's recap a little bit. So you gained a little bit of weight during the pandemic, and then you realize I want to feel better. I want to get back to my how I was feeling before, and then you started using your tools. And what were some of the tools that you used? You mentioned calibrations. You were in the Malicious Method program. What other tools were you using? If you
Yeah, it's also about, again, appreciating where you are right now, right? You've got to be present and accept where you are and appreciate. You got to find anything that is good about you, right? That you can feel in that situation, and that's how you can go forward, right? We all know that. So for me, it was, hey, I'm this many years old, but look at me. I'm completely healthy and I've got amazing life. I wake up breathing. I've got eyes that I can see things with and enjoy beautiful things, enjoy my family. I can smell and taste and hear beautiful music or move. I already do all that. And all of my organs have been working perfectly. It's brought me all this joy to where you are. So just appreciating that itself is huge, right? And so when you're feeling good, and I do a lot of, your cells has its own, every single cell has its own consciousness, right? So you got to talk to your cells. Your body knows exactly how to take care of everything. You just have to get in alignment with that and talk to it. So I do that a lot as well, even if it could be something like, you went for a run and your shins are hurting or your back is hurting, whatever it might be, you talk to your body and it goes away. You feel better. And that's magical too, but it's about appreciating and talking, and um, that's where, those were some of the things that I used. And so along with, being inspired or knowing my why, because once you have that, no matter how many times you fall off the scale or you ate something, nothing really, takes you
no
to a
pun
bad spot.
intended, right? No pun intended. Fall off the scale. No, just kidding.
Right. Very much. You
I
could
never
fall off.
fall off the scale because I never weigh myself. So
I do, but it's a fun exercise, and
really,
like, oh,
yeah,
okay, I know where it's
it's
gonna
all
be.
over. Yes, whatever
Yeah, so
whatever feels good to you. Yeah.
yeah, you got to do that, and then of course, cheat days. People say cheat days for a reason. Of course, you don't want to frame it as cheat days, but really, really important. And I say this all the time. Whatever you're eating, eat it with joy, and bless that food and eat it. Otherwise, you could be eating a medicine, or you could be eating the most healthiest food in the world, but it could be poison to you.
Yes.
It
So
could
before
become
we
poison
go
to you.
into the food, which I'm really excited about talking about, I want to just milk that whole thing about appreciation a little bit more because it is so, so, so important. I love what you're saying about appreciation was one of your tools. So beginning to, and I'm sure you did that before, and then you just started doing it even more. And again, because you mentioned in the pre-chat with me that recently lost 14 pounds, and so you got back to where that feeling that you wanted to get back to, and it was not by trying to control your food and all of that. It was like by the tools you're talking about, calibration and appreciation. So let's talk about appreciation for a moment. That is something that I'm always talking to my clients about, because, okay, let's go ahead and make a list of 20 things we appreciate. Like imagine doing that every morning or every night. Some of you that are listening are already doing that. And if you're not, that is such a powerful way to move up the vibrational scale from feeling,
Yep.
even depression or guilt. Guilt and shame is one of the heaviest, again, no pun intended, emotions that you can feel.
Yeah.
And so moving up the vibrational scale to feeling better, appreciation is up there really high. And when you just start appreciating, like Anitha said, even like my cells, they know they're, talk to your cells. They're wanting to feel better. They're wanting to just like communicate with you. And I have to say that I just started listening to Abraham YouTube videos on physical pain, because I've been having this shoulder thing for a while, and I don't know why I didn't listen to Abraham videos about it. Why didn't I? And now I'm listening to them, and it's like what you're saying, like communicating with your cells and allowing them. Your cells want to feel better. They want to help you feel better. It's like, oh, I can communicate with my cells. So I love that you said that, because I just started doing that, and already I
Yes.
had some relief.
Yes.
Already I had some
Yes.
relief. So
100%.
tell me more about talking to your cells. How do you do that?
Well, yeah, you could, like you mentioned, you could do it for pain as well. I recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I had to drive to a leadership retreat in San Diego. It took me 4.5 hours to drive there. So you can imagine my back was like hurting so much for a few days, and even after I came back. And then all of a sudden, I take arnica and, homeopathic remedies and everything, and nothing really was helping. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I should just talk to myself, right? So that's what I did. I started talking, hey, you're okay, you're good, you're great, you've been doing so much for me. You allowed me to drive all that time and come drive back too, and had so much fun. And you just talk and soothe that pain, telling the cells, exactly what to do, how to make it feel better. And trust me, I'm not even joking you. Next day it was gone. My pain was gone. I am not even joking. So it's happened many times too. Like I mentioned, when I go for walks or running, and my shins, they tend to hurt really bad. And I did the same thing. You start talking to your shin and say, it's okay. I was a runner all my life before. So, you've been there. You've been amazing and running for so long and everything. And again, talk and soothing. And then it's gone.
Yeah.
So you can't do that, to your body. So when you are eating something as well, you're telling the same thing. Hey, body, here's this beautiful, delicious, yummy food that I'm giving you, because I love this food too. And you just take it and take all the nutrients, whatever you need, and do something amazing with it. So you do that as well. So that's the part of talking to your body.
Yes, I really love this. I love it so much, because I'm not so sure that I've done that. So this feels like something I'm excited about doing and implementing into my life. And I hope I know it's going to help other people too. So again, thank you for this. I know this is going to help other people.
If you've built up momentum over the years or even decades, struggling with negative emotions, and find yourself wanting to feel better, help is on the way. My private coaching sessions are based on the law of attraction. I also use a calibration method to help you move up the vibrational scale on any topic that's bothering you. Many people work with me because they want to accept their bodies, experience more health and vitality, discover food freedom, or release pounds. That being said, I work with people on any subject because, as you know, everything is connected. If you'd like to schedule an initial session or coaching package with me, please go to deliciousalignment.com/coaching. I have an incredible offer for you there. Are you a visual learner? If you are, you will enjoy the video version of my book, Delicious Alignment: How 25 Women Learn to Love and Transform Their Bodies Using Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction. This online course includes video lessons for 5 weeks covering the 5-step program from my book. These 5 steps help you learn how to love your body, your food, and your life. The 5 steps are: Step 1, get off the scale and get in alignment. Step 2, start a love affair with your body. Step 3, create a new story. Step 4, make friends with food. Step 5, build momentum toward the body and life you want. There are 20 videos in total, and the course also includes the audios and transcripts of part 1 of my book, plus journal exercises to help you integrate the material. Simply go to deliciousalignment.com/online-course to find out more, or find the link in the show notes.
Yes, let's talk about that then. The talking to yourself while you're eating or before you're eating, and all of that. Yeah. So, how do you think you were talking to yourself before compared to how you talk to yourself now? About the food.
Food, yeah. Well, that's one consistent thing that I've always done is I've never eaten anything with guilt, right? Especially when you're overweight or whatever. Even
Good for you.
slim
Good for you.
people still do that,
Of
people who have
course.
no weight. She's like, oh, I don't know if I want to eat that cake, it's going to put on me pounds. No, you've already set yourself up for failure for, if that cake affecting you negatively already. So I've never done that. I've always enjoyed my food, whatever I'm eating, right?
I love it.
But I had a very interesting thing during this period. Of course, my main method to lose weight, of course, get a little bit more active, play with my dog, and intermittent fasting. That's what I did. I'll have my cup of chocolate or whatever till lunchtime. And the thing with intermittent fasting is because you eat.
Did you say, I'm sorry, did you say you have your cup of chocolate? A cup of...
Yeah, it's a cup of cocoa that the mix that is with some turmeric and MCT, but you don't even have to do this. I've done just water.
I'm just curious. So that's,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just curious because I do intermittent fasting as well, because actually my body loves it. It feels really good. So this doesn't have any caloric content. So you're doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, I just wanted to clarify. So it's because like you said, I'm having a cup
I don't
of
think
chocolate.
there's any proteins. Yeah, it's just a plain, it's a cacao bliss is the name. It's,
I want that. I want that.
By
Cup of chocolate in the morning, and then I lose weight.
It's called ceremonial grade chocolate with turmeric and MCT and superfoods kind of thing in it. So I just, have that cup and with my water till lunchtime, and that's it. And because of that, I don't feel like snacking in the middle of the day, before dinner after my lunch. So that's how it's been, and that's totally fine. But there was one day where, it's a lazy day at home and you just want to, I think I just finished grocery shopping. So there was fun things to try. So there, I wasn't really listening to my body. I wasn't listening to my gut. I was snacking here and there, maybe a cherry or two or something. And I had this small thought. It wasn't like a negative thought or anything. I said, hey, do you really want to eat that? Or, you don't even feel like eating it. You're just eating it because it was something there, right? And I didn't listen to my body then. And then at dinner time, I wasn't really hungry. Again, I didn't listen to my gut feeling. I still decided to go eat whatever I ate for lunch. It was almost the same thing. But oh my goodness, after I ate it, I was so full and bloated and feeling terrible, right? So you didn't really listen to your body then. So when that happens, everything just goes right. So it's also part of listening to, do you really feel like eating it? It's okay if you don't feel like eating it, and that's fine. Don't eat. That's it. But those little thoughts, those little gut feeling that you have, don't ignore it. Your body's saying, hey, Anita, I'm good here. We don't need lunch today, or we don't need dinner today. But I didn't listen. I'm like, it's dinner. I have to eat dinner, right? I have to eat it. So it was a bad experience. So that really taught me a lesson to just listen to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're talking about obviously is listening to your body and what do you want? Like talking to your body, like you said, like what do you like? Sometimes I'll stand in front of the fridge and I'm hungry, and it's like I have no idea what to eat, and then I'll just I'll close the door and I will just take a moment and
Yeah.
just okay, what do you want, body?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
what do you
What do
feel?
you feel like eating today?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got back into that rhythm of checking in with your body and seeing, feeling what you want to eat, and feeling, it sounds like, pretty consistently feeling good about, feeling joyful about whatever you eat. Because you
Yeah.
understand, you understand, as you so beautifully said a moment ago, that the vibration is so important.
Yeah.
When you're eating, the vibrate where you are vibrationally is more important than the actual food.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just saying a blessing, because again, how many people can enjoy, the good food that you're eating, so you got to be thankful every time what you're having, appreciate it, because it's the same thing. I put almost $100 of gas the other day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, but at the same time, you got to feel like, thank goodness, I appreciate that I'm able to afford that and I can have that, right? You got to appreciate it. So that's the basis of every single thing that you do. Again, during the pandemic, there was so much of loneliness and bitterness, and it was really hard for so many people, and still is. And I had to, calibrate, my kids, helping them understand, hey, right now you're healthy, you have your family, we're all having fun. We can go on drives, we can go to the beach at 6 a.m. It doesn't matter. But you could enjoy those things. And so you hold on to those good things, right? And that'll help so much too.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Back to that appreciation, and also, yes, appreciating, because there's so many reasons why appreciation is so important. And one of the reasons also is that when you eat from the vibration of appreciation, your body is going to digest that food in a way that is most beneficial for you. So, I have had many times in my life where I'm eating from a place of depression or just wanting to numb myself, not feel the thing that just emotionally triggered me, and getting into all of this stuff helped me to learn that eating from that place is not necessarily, that was part of the problem. That was because and then your beliefs. Well, I believe that if I eat this food, I'm going to gain weight. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you wind up
Yep.
fulfilling on that prophecy
Yep.
because you have the belief that that's so. And so really tapping into, oh my gosh, how I'm feeling while I'm eating. So I love the journey of becoming more and more conscious of how I'm feeling
Yes.
when I'm eating this. That's why I love this conversation about celebrating food, because if you allow yourself to start celebrating food instead of making food wrong or being afraid of food, which is what a lot of people are, so afraid of food, then your vibration is higher, and I believe, and I even have, quote, Abraham says that your metabolism actually works better. I mean, Abraham says, like, what do you think metabolism is? Metabolism is your vibration. So if you're down here at sadness, depression, shame, guilt, then of course your metabolism acts accordingly, right? And it's not metabolizing the food as sufficiently, right? So when you're up here at feeling appreciation or even hopeful, that gets you into the closer vicinity of the vortex, and then you're metabolizing the food more efficiently, which blows my mind every time I think about it or talk about it. It just blows my freaking mind.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to just ask yourself. I mean, again, that's not easy for everybody, right? You just have to ask yourself when you take a piece of whatever you're eating, why am I eating this right now? Is it because it feels good, it looks good, it's yummy, delicious, hey, I want to try this good thing? Or you're just eating it because you're not feeling good? You got to keep asking yourself, your body, those questions, and you will get the answers. You just have to tune in, right? Tune in, tap in, and listen to what your body is telling you, and where, like you mentioned, on the emotional scale you are. So if you're anywhere on the top, eat it. And if you're anything below that, just don't. I mean, any action, right? Any action that you take. I recently had this terrible episode of, my HOA not allowing me to do something. It was
I'm sorry.
Really stressful. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, what the experience was that, can you tell me again?
It was a certain incident that happened, and I allowed myself to get into the nitty gritty negative feeling about it.
Yes.
And then I had to catch myself. Hey, what am I doing? I don't want to feel terrible like this. And then I had to calibrate myself to feeling good and soothe myself, say, what do I really want? I just want this, and why I want it and how it's going to make me feel. And then let it go and relaxed. And then everything was fine.
Yeah.
It worked out however way it should work out. And I wasn't worried about anything. I needn't have worried about anything. Right. So it's the same thing with the food. Ask yourself, what do you really want to feel about whatever you're eating?
Yes. And I want to say, and I always kind of put this in there a little bit, is sometimes I know many people that are listening, and even myself once in a while, will still eat when I'm at a low vibration. So I'm looking to I'm using food as a way to soothe myself, to feel better. Not at all like I used to. It's like very, very different now. But like now I'm aware. If I'm doing it, I'm aware that I'm doing it. And so for me, it's a matter of soothing myself. Like I just ate that and I wasn't.
That's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay. Soothing yourself. Yeah. When most of the time I eat when I'm really hungry, and then I stop when I'm full, which is a beautiful thing in itself. I am so appreciative of that, because before I didn't know what that was like. I never allowed myself to get hungry. I was just afraid of being hungry for some reason. But I know that sometimes, that might happen where I might eat something and I'm not even hungry, or I know that I'm soothing myself with food, and just then soothing myself. Or if I might be in a low vibration and eat something, and just knowing that's okay.
Yeah. Just totally okay.
Soothing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing bad is going to happen if you did that either, right? If you thought of an elephant came, that story right away, that wouldn't, it doesn't make sense. So even if you did fall off the scale, or you did eat something and you did feel guilty about it, that's totally okay. Your next step is to change that, and don't get there going forward. Just like the cheat day, you have one day you cheat yourself, do that, and then you go back to your diet or whatever, and it's totally fine. It's totally fine if you fell off the wagon. It's totally fine. You
Yeah.
can get back to whatever you need to.
And
Yeah.
it's so funny. It's so funny because there are I think this came up recently in another podcast. There are trigger words that you we're all so different. So it's like falling off the wagon is like, not that I'm not saying, Anitha, I'm making you wrong for saying that, but like that is like a trigger word for me, or words, a phrase,
Wow.
and like falling off the wagon, and it's like, really, that's why this work is really about what
Yeah.
works for you. Each of us is individual. Each of us is going, or we're on our own journey and finding what is going to work for you. I mean, that's in my book. It's like finding what works for you. It's your relationship with your inner being, your relationship with source, your relationship with food. And I love hearing your story and how that works for you. Like, oh, if you do, then fine. If you do wind up doing that, if you do fall off the scale or fall off the wagon, that's fine. And for me, it's like, well, if I do eat when I'm not hungry, that's okay. Because I think for me, it like goes back to all those dieting years
Yeah.
where they would say that. Well, or like my dad was, I guess once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, right? But he's sober for many, many years now. But falling off the wagon and with AA and going to Al-Anon meetings. So it's really like whatever you hear in these podcasts or anywhere, it's like using what works for you and saying the things to you that soothe you. So I love hearing about
Yeah.
what's working for you, Anitha, because it's so helpful, because so many people are going to resonate with the way that you're doing it and the things that you say to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to always be forgiving and kind to yourself, right? You've got to honor who you are, and that's a very big part of it. We tend to always criticize ourselves and put ourselves down. So that's a big part, that you have to be forgiving to yourself. Whatever you did, whenever you did it, or whatever state of mind you were, that's totally okay. It's okay. What do you tell to your children? What do you tell to your younger self? That's how you should speak to yourself. Are you going to slam your kids and say, "See what did you do? What did you do?" Are you going to be that way? Or are you going to be, "That's okay. You did it. Now you just have to change into something else. It's all right." You have to be forgiving to yourself and kind and be compassionate. Whatever you want to do for your kids, that's how you should treat yourself too.
Yeah.
It's a big thing, and we tend to not do that. We always criticize ourselves, so
Yeah.
it's very important.
I'm just curious, what is your experience with dieting? Did you diet much when you were younger? Did you go through that whole thing?
Not that I was younger, but I have tried, like I said, after I had my second kid, that's when I put on all the weight, right? Then yes, here and there I have tried maybe a little bit, but then, like I mentioned, to me, food is very special. It's, of course, it's what brings families together. It's a beautiful thing. Let's just put it that way. It's a beautiful thing, whether it's a fruit or a vegetable, or between cultures, every culture has its own amazing delicacies, and everything. So food has a special place in my heart anyway. So to me, it's like, I don't know, it's a pretty negative thing if you go against food. So diets haven't been my greatest,
Great,
thing
great,
I would
great.
ever do.
Oh well, I'm
At
happy
least
for
for
you.
me.
I'm so thrilled to hear that. That you have this wonderful relationship with food, pretty much your whole life, where you were celebrating it, appreciating it, just really basking in the pleasure of it, allowing yourself to enjoy all the flavors and all the different cultures of all the different foods. It's such an amazing thing
Yes.
to get there if you haven't been there, and you get to that place of food freedom where
Yes.
you're allowing yourself to savor every bite. And oh, this is amazing. This tastes so good. And
Yeah.
I love seeing that a light bulb go off for people when they have not allowed themselves for years, sometimes decades, to
Yes.
enjoy food without any shame or guilt.
Yeah.
It's just
I
like this
know.
amazing freedom that affects your whole life.
It does. It does. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a big deal, especially in cultures where food is just, doing something out of love. You feed your family out of love.
Yeah.
So
And,
that's a
and
big deal.
yeah, and when you get away from that whole deprivation thing, then you enjoy it even more because you're not trying to control it so much. You're just enjoying it. You're vibing higher when you're eating it. So your metabolism, your body, everything, your cells, are all working together. And you're not trying to, like, oh no, I need to stop here. I can't eat this. This is bad. You. I grew up, oh, I'm being good today. You meet your girlfriends and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm going to be good today. So what does that mean? Then it means I'm bad
Yeah.
when I'm not. Yeah. And so I just
Yeah.
really passionate about food freedom, as you can
Yeah.
tell.
That along with how you talk to yourself, my kids already know this by now. They're not allowed to say, I'm so stupid, I'm idiotic, what did I do? I'm ridiculous, or, I'm clumsy. Those things are out in this house. You don't talk to yourself that way, even if it's for a joke. You have to always talk nicely to yourself. That's what your cells are hearing, right? And then
Yes.
how do you expect them to perform, right? If you're always criticizing a kid in front of at them, they're never going to perform good. They're always going to think they're bad. So you got to talk to yourself that way too.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love it. When I started living with my dad about 6 years ago, he, it, he would sometimes say things like that. Oh, that was stupid. I should. And I said, nope, we don't do that here. So nope, we don't do that. And he doesn't do it anymore. 85 years old. He doesn't do that anymore. So amazing. So it's never too late for any of us to turn it around.
that,
It's amazing, amazing, amazing. Anything else you want to say to people about your journey? Inspiring words. What maybe are three things you would suggest to people who want to start loving their bodies and love their bodies even more, love their food? Yeah.
yeah, if regarding body and food and everything, I think the main thing would be to um, be kind and be nice to yourself, and you have to get to that place where you want to treat your body and yourself in the best way possible, like you would do whoever your most loved person in your life is. That's how you should treat yourself. That leads to everything else. Then your mind is in a better frame of mind to, okay, what is my journey? What is my method or tools to take care of myself, be healthy, lose weight, or whatever it might be. So you start from here, be good to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned, forgive yourself, whatever you've done before, that's okay. It's all in the past. You can start right this minute. Even if the previous minute I was thinking terrible things to myself, that's okay. Now you're in present in this moment. Start being good to yourself. Start thinking good thoughts. And that's all you need. It's okay. You can start right now, this second, like you mentioned, 85 is nothing. You can start if you're 102 and then live to another 100 years. Well, maybe, but you can do it any second, everything is fine. It's all right. So that's what I would say to anybody going through this journey. Yeah.
Yeah, be kind to yourself and accept. Sounds like you're saying accept where you are.
Yeah.
And go from there. Like that is an important step. Is just accepting where you are, and knowing that that's actually even the past. Because now, once you start,
it's already.
Yeah. Once you start thinking better thoughts, better feeling thoughts, and it's about your emotions, then start feeling the way you want to feel, like you did. You said, how do I want to feel? Okay, I put on a few pounds over the pandemic. Well, I could continue to feel bad about that, or how do I want to feel? And then calibrate yourself to a better feeling, or get a calibration from
and
someone else.
Also don't hold yourself. Yeah, also don't hold yourself accountable in the sense, like beat yourself up if you did feel bad in the middle of your journey, or you ate something that you shouldn't have eaten, or whatever it might be. Don't beat yourself up. Just calibrate and just rethink and pivot and go from there. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
It's okay to not feel okay.
Yeah.
As soon as you're ready to feel better, you have tools.
Yeah.
There's always meditation. You could always sneak away if you have kids.
Yeah, just visualize yourself every day. When you wake up in the morning, I tell the kids, don't go on your phones and just wire yourself up for stress all day long. Just sit there, be grateful, think about your day, think about the exciting thing, how you want it to look like, and go from there. Make a gratitude journal. I know somebody mentioned to do a gratitude journal for the next day. So you're already setting yourself up for success and how you want it to be. Of course, everything might not go the exact same way, but most of it will, or at least you'll have, good stuff for sure.
Yeah. And that sort of like pre-paving where you're
exactly. Yeah.
I love doing that. I would write down things that I'm thankful for that haven't even, as if they've happened, as if they've already happened. That's
exactly. Yeah.
So powerful. Really powerful. Well, thank you so much. This has been so fun.
It was.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show. And thank you, Anitha. So great to meet you in person.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rhonda. You're so amazing. I love being here. You have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here are the 10 takeaways from this interview. 1. Realize it's not about the food. It's not about this diet or that diet. It's about your alignment and your vibration. 2. Focus on inspired action instead of forced action. Allow the inspiration, when it comes, to guide you. In the meanwhile, relax and practice alignment. 3. Calibrate to better feeling emotions and practice feeling good or even joyful about what you're about to eat. 4. If you're only thinking about the problem, you can't find the joy in the solution. 5. Practice listening to your body. 6. Practice honoring your body. 7. Talk to your trillions of cells before eating. Let them know you're about to give them some delicious, yummy food. 8. Eat from the vibration of appreciation, because when you do, your body digests your food in a way that is most beneficial for you. 9. Notice what your beliefs are about specific foods. For instance, if you believe that certain foods will cause you to gain weight, that's probably what will happen. It's okay to work with your beliefs and follow the path of least resistance for you, and it's also okay to transform your beliefs. Do what feels easiest. 10. Become more and more aware of how you feel when you're eating and your emotions in general. I hope you enjoyed my interview with Anitha Johny. You can connect with Anitha on Facebook at anitha.johny. That's ANITHA.JOHNY. That's right, only one N. Make sure to join me and thousands of other delicious aligners in my Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/delicious-alignment. Again, find all the links mentioned in this podcast at deliciousalignment.com/podcast. Also, I want to let you know that I've got wonderful guests lined up for you in the coming months with people who have used the law of attraction to love their bodies and finally discover food freedom. I'm also going to add interviews with people who have used the law of attraction to create more health and wealth in their lives. Exciting stuff, so make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or follow us on Spotify. Do you know someone who could benefit from this message? If so, please help me spread the word by sharing this podcast on Instagram, posting on Facebook, or texting the link deliciousalignment.com/podcast to a friend who might benefit from getting in on this conversation. Make sure to tag me when you share so I can say hi. Thanks again for listening. I love hearing how this podcast is making a difference in your life. Till next time.